Peace, family. Peace. We are now live. We are now live. Get comfortable, family. Hit that like button. We're not going to be on here too long tonight. We're all getting ready and gearing up for Sunday's presentation from Dr. Valentine. And while I put the commercials on, I'm gonna put the link is in the description, but I'm about to pin it in the chat. But before I bring on Doc, let's get to a couple of commercials, family, and we'll be right back. All right, get comfortable, family.
Hey there! Had a bad dream? I have dreams too. Some parts are scary and some parts are fun. Always remind yourself, it's only a dream and everything will be okay. I had a dream about being in a forest too. Check it out, my pet Petey was with me. Order your copy of Kayla Petey and the Forest on Amazon today.
Hey family, it's King Simon, the founder of Numerovation. Remember, if you want to book a session with me and get a Numerovation consultation, all you have to do is text me your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. And if you want any of my books, go to linktree/King Simon, the Numerovator. That's King Simon, the Numerovator. And your books are available on Amazon. Remember, I'm the El Numero Uno, the Numerovator himself. And if you want to book a session, all you have to do is text me. Make sure you get my books on Amazon. I love you. Peace.
All right, without further ado, Dr. Valentine, welcome back to the show, my brother.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Yeah, definitely. Always good to have you back on here. We're getting ready, like I said, for Sunday. Fat, tell the people about what's going down Sunday, Doc, before we get started.
Well, Sunday, we're beginning at 2 p.m. sharp because we have a lot to cover. It's going to be a gradual, it's a PhD course. Mm-hmm. And be ready. I'm allowing people to take snapshots of certain things that they want to remember. Please remember that this is going to be a long session. Don't eat too much. Try to get some rest the day before and the night before. And there will be breaks, music breaks, for you to run, go to the bathroom, and so forth. But this is going to be a very intense, because as we close out the 2023, going into 2024 in the election year, there's going to be a lot of shutdowns of access to certain information. You're going to see this, and we have to be prepared. We got to get ready, because there's going to be a lot of change happening, especially in the weather patterns. Things are getting ready to really seriously be ramped up, and we're going to explain that. Hopefully, maybe take a few minutes, 5 minutes, for me to explain one of the things you wanted to ask me a question about. Definitely.
Yeah. So we getting ready. We're not going to be on here too long tonight, family. Doc just wanted to touch base before the webinar. Make sure everybody know what's going on. Make sure everybody's on the same page, the same frequency. It's going down this Sunday, family. The link is pinned at the top of the chat. If you just come in the room, make sure you sign up for this Sunday's webinar. We're just going to have a light segment today on the news or the distractions that's been going on, and get Dr. Valentine's metaphysical lens on what he sees taking place, if there is a metaphysical lens, and tell us about what's really going on that they may be covering up. So there's a couple of stories happening in the news. To start out with, you're known for your metaphysical teachings, Doc, and something happened with the Schumann resonance that nobody has never seen before, and it happened on Father's Day, where the Schumann resonance made what looked like cymatic images, like you know what cymatics is. Mm-hmm. And people were everybody's absolutely astonished by what happened and what took place. So gotta ask you to start out with that, Doc. What happened with the Schumann resonance on Father's Day? What's that about?
Well, if they had cymatic signatures, it means that there are certain cleansing brushes. The cymatics are to match or to counter the cymatics of polluted thought that's in the atmosphere. You have to understand that the greatest pollution in our atmosphere right now ain't got nothing to do with gas. It ain't got nothing to do with high carbon or nothing. It's thought. Thought is the greatest pollution right now. And people don't understand that nature is reacting to that. And what I did was I went back, because it was in like 1994 when I addressed the Schumann resonance. So I had my old book with my Schumann resonance information.
Amazing. You still got it.
Yeah. So amazing. The notes that I'd spoken about those many decades ago. So I'll give you a real quick down. It was actually named after a guy named Winifred Schumann, and he discovered these particular patterns in the atmosphere, these frequency patterns that essentially went into peaks and valleys. And he found a resonance. They call it the Schumann resonance, but here's what I call it. These are the peaks and valleys of the ELF, which is extremely low frequencies of the Earth's electromagnetic spectrum. I called it the changing temperaments of the feminine aspect of God, when the electrical spirals actually create the feminine. So what's happening, and you're going to see what's going to be happening when when you see a lightning bolt. When the lightning bolt strikes, right after the strike of the lightning bolt, a resonant magnetic field is created. Okay, so what I tell people that some say, and I want to say what I have here. Some say that the Earth is like a giant electrical circuit. Indeed, Tesla called it the flux of the electromagnetic field generated by the sun and the moon. We are inside the dome, and the dome is acting like a gigantic cyclotron. They essentially invented a type of back to the future flux machine, I just found out, one that can control the directional movement of microwave signals. So a lot of our thought patterns are in the microwave spectrum, depending on how high and how resonant and how what we call sublime and subtle they are. Now, the dome, listen carefully, the dome is charged by our metallic-like compressed hydrogen and helium and nitrogen dome, which reionizes the atmosphere. This happens when the saturation of human consciousness conflicts with the Earth Mother and Father Spirit's marriage in matter. Right now, the end time cycle for our present consciousness time zone is in effect, and the distorted consciousness signatures have psychospiritually polluted the atmosphere, causing the activation of corrective measures seen in the high frequency activation of fail-safe measures by divine intelligence in the form of what we see expressed in the fluctuations of matter called the Schumann resonance. So human thought and the activations of human thought actually affect the Schumann resonance, because if human thought is unbalanced or goes all the way to one direction, and it pollutes the atmosphere to the point where the atmosphere begins to react, as we see happening today with all the explosions of nuclear weapons, the killing, all the sacrificing, the bloodletting. Once we see that begin to happen, then nature automatically takes over, because everything that's happening is happening on the consciousness levels, on the higher frequency levels of consciousness. So the dome reacts to actually cleanse the atmosphere. This is why you're going to see a lot of storms. The storms that you're going to see, hurricanes, cyclones, all of these things are going to start happening, because right now, pivoting off of the dome, what we have, and you're going to see me, I'm going to be talking about this in the program. You're going to start seeing sprites, things that they call sprites, which are stratospheric, mesospheric, up to 60 to 80 miles, and they're caused by intense thunderstorms and electrification of the atmosphere. Every time there's pollution in the atmosphere, pollution at the highest level, which is a thought of resonance signatures and sequences and frequencies in the collective human consciousness. Whenever the collective human consciousness goes completely skewed, as it is now, when the female and the male are imbalanced, there is a corrective measure by nature. We'll see that happening now. That's why the turbulence that's caused by, say, men wanting to be women, women wanting to be men, and then they are changing the resonant frequencies of their activity. A woman does not act masculine and is forced to act masculine. She's taken outside of the balance of what she's supposed to be in nature. When a man now wants to cut off his vitals and he wants to act like a woman, then what his presence now becomes an anathema. It becomes a what you may call a not a virus, but a agitation to the frequencies, an imbalance to the frequencies. So right now, the Schumann resonance is giving you peaks and deep valleys, peaks and deep valleys. And they say it happened on Father's Day which is a very good day for it to happen, because the mother and the father, the marriage between those two has become unbalanced. And you see that happening now because the female energy, which essentially not the highest female energy, when it dovetails over into the masculine, it is now under the pairing, whereas the mother-father consciousness that balances us, the imbalance is the Astaroth. Now, the Astaroth energy is a hermaphrodite energy. There is a male Astaroth, which they call the devil of the, I forgot what he was called, but he's called the devil of something. I get the devil of hell, or the something of hell. But the female now, when you look at Aster or Astarte or the star, you're looking at the feminine energy, Roth. Roth means red. Okay, so you're dealing with a red-headed demon, female, who essentially now has a priesthood of Astaroth. You saw Beyonce take on in her present musical tour. She is acting as Astaroth. And
Beyonce?
Yes. Look at her dress. Look at her clothing, and look at what she is. They had her on a pedestal, looking like a goddess, with the stars coming out of her, what do you call it, a head, looking just like the demon Astaroth. And Astaroth has a priesthood of men who essentially dress like women, castrate themselves to be like women. Where are you seeing that information right now? Where are you seeing that happen right now? Okay?
Yeah.
So the Astaroth energy, which is the masculine energy, because he's a demon, he's another demon, but he has a feminine side, which makes him hermaphroditic. Okay? Makes the two of them hermaphroditic. So you have this end time demon as the harbinger of the new time to come that's being destroyed, because these entities only come to prominence when a paradigm is getting ready to be shut down in consciousness.
This is some interesting stuff, Doc.
Wow. I'm hoping that people get prepared for it, because this is what I've been taught. Well, I'm just going back since 1994, 95 to try to bring this. I'm just bringing all the old information to the front right now. But you got to remember, right now, there is a demonic energy that's being fed into our young people at this time. That's why they're so heavy to bring us down and go after the children, because that's what she does. Astaroth, the feminine, the female demon, she goes after your children. Okay? And she is the one who is the sacrificer of the children, because she's barren. She is... When the so-called Adam and Eve situation came about, Lilith was the first wife of Adam, but she wasn't going to submit to him. Okay, so she became the other side, the shadow of Eve, that part of Eve that can come forward if Eve does not stay within the assigned resonance that keeps the feminine principle in balance. She's out of it now, and Astaroth has taken over. And if you don't see that in everything that you're looking at today, the way that things are topsy-turvy, the way that things are completely twisted, and we're going to go into it. We're going to go into it in deep depth on Sunday.
Wow.
But just understand, we are in a change, and everything that you see with the Schumann resonance is the reaction of Nature Mother and Spirit Father. Because that wedding, that marriage that's supposed to be representative of God on earth is now completely gone. That balance is gone. And you're going to see the rectifying frequencies begin to attack directly off of the dome. And I'm going to show you how the electricity, you're going to see electricity coming off the dome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Damn. Oh, man. Wow. Whew. I'm ready for Sunday, Doc. I'm ready for Sunday. Once again, family, the link is pinned in the top of the chat. Doc's going to be going on for about 10 hours. It's going to be an amazing webinar. I can't wait to hear the information that he presents to us on these topics. And I advise everybody to sign up. So make sure y'all click on that link pinned at the top of the chat. Also, like I said, if you're coming in late, we're just going over. We're not going to be on here long tonight. I just wanted to talk to Doc, remind the people about the webinar and ask him about some of the current news that's out right now. We do that every so often when we talk about the news and just try to see what's really going on. And I'm glad I asked him about the Schumann resonance because I didn't hear anybody say what Doc just said. So I'm glad that I asked the brother about that. What I want to ask you about now, Doc, is prior to about 5, 6, 7 months ago, I never heard of a guy named Andrew Tate. Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Then I just started hearing his name everywhere.
Yeah.
And about how the Matrix is attacking him. He got banned. And I said, why is he banned? What the hell is he doing to get banned from everywhere? They banned the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I think they banned Trump. They banned Tate. I think Alex Jones got banned.
Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Have you noticed who's being banned?
Men. Yeah.
It's Astaroth. She's at work.
So you saying that? Hold on. So that's the
representation. The attack is using feminized males because most of the people in Congress are pedophiles. And they worship at the altar of this particular type of demon. There are a few others that they deal with. They call them satanic. Yeah. But each demon has a frequency that you resonate to.
Right.
And you call upon that based upon the actions necessary to give that particular demon or feed that demon. And it's not really a demon outside of ourselves, it's the demon within. And if you have any inkling, any weakness towards that, you will find yourself doing the things to feed whatever that energy is. The same way that I say that when they said God made man, we made God. You see, in his image and likeness. And so whatever it is that we now, at the last stages of a particular consciousness cycle, that comes to end. And like I said many times before, and the sisters hated me, at the end of every consciousness cycle and a consciousness paradigm, the destructive female energy, because she is the matter principle, she is always prominent in it. Kali, Sekhmet, Ashtar, all of them are the destructors. And our ancestors from the longest period of time ago used to put them up as the ones that actually look at Kali. She's got the swords and the skulls of men because she's saying, okay, it's time for a change. It's a rebirth coming. This time, this thing has died. And if this particular energy is what you call a super senior energy, wow, is it going to be heavy when the time changes, when the actual crucible comes to change. And women know what it's like if they've had birth, what it's like to go through that particular cycle. They have to go through another frame of mind. They switch into a whole other consciousness when that pain comes, when that baby is coming. And that's exactly what's happening. The baby is coming.
Wow. So this entity, people that speak like Tate, you're saying this entity doesn't like people who,
no, the masculine principle is under attack because it's the end time. And we represent a time that is not today. Remember I told you I don't live today? I'm only here. I'm only visiting here from another tomorrow. I've said that so many times. I'm only visiting here from a tomorrow that I was to help you prepare for. That's what you're here for. You're here to prepare them for tomorrow that does not go along this consciousness timeline. You are deviating from a path of destruction. You're telling them there's another way. There is another way. The musicians like Jimi Hendrix, he's trying to tell you, I don't live today. That's where I took that from. He said, I don't live today. I'm only visiting from another tomorrow.
From another tomorrow.
From a whole other tomorrow, from the one that you think you're headed to. And I'm trying to tell you there's a detour around this. You may not survive it physically, but when you have fixed your radar, when you have fixed your attention on the destination that you're supposed to occupy, the place you're supposed to occupy in thought, word, and deed,
Mhm.
then your soul already has changed its metric, has changed its direction. And once
Mhm.
that happens, you're going to see that you're going to end up coming back, if you do wish to come back, coming back already pre-prepared as a
Mhm.
child,
Mhm.
knowing immediately what you have to do, no
Yeah.
matter what your trials are.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's wow. This you started out real interested. This, I mean, what literature is this in? This entity that you speak. What literature?
You got to go into the Hebrew. Remember,
The
they took
Hebrew.
a lot from out of the they
Okay.
took a lot from out of the they took a lot from out of the ancient Cemites. And what you're looking at when you say Astaroth, you have to look at the Kabbalah.
Okay. Okay. The Kabbalah. All right.
Mhm.
And what about another news story that a lot of people are talking about, and I've heard you told the story of the Titanic years ago,
Yes.
to let people know what really happened.
Hmm.
Is there any similarities do you feel between the conspiracy behind the original Titanic and what took place with the recent billionaires that recently died? Were they
I'm
taken
not.
out on purpose
Yeah,
for?
yeah. We're supposed to
Mm,
believe that they went down there looking for whatever. I don't know what they're going down there and messing around with, but I believe that this. I think that this is a way that whoever it was down there,
mhm,
they backed out. They needed to die in order to get away from something.
mhm,
I'm not sure what it was that they had to die from, but
mhm,
I do know that, I why are we caring about multi-billionaires going down in a dirigible to do what?
mhm,
I don't really give a rat's ass what happens to them. They
mhm,
shouldn't be in the water like that anyway. They need to stay out of there. That ain't their home.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Leave well enough alone. You know what I'm saying? That's just like
Yeah.
the old adage. When black people go into a haunted house, white people say they hear spooky things. They say, I wonder what that is. Let's go check it out. Black person goes in and hears that same sound. He says, yo, I'm out,
I'm out. Yeah,
because we
out of here.
understand the spiritual realm,
Mhm,
you see. And so
mhm,
I don't really care about people who want to go down in dirigibles, because that is telling me that the news wants me to look over there
mhm,
and they're getting ready to do some shit over here.
mhm, mhm,
See,
mhm.
and I stopped looking at what it is they want me to look at, and look at the things that they don't want me to look at. Like
Right.
when I said, remember when I said about 25 years ago that everybody needs to study Lucifer?
Yeah. Mhm,
Oh, did
mhm,
I get it from the church?
mm,
And
right.
I was telling them, I said, well, Jesus and Lucifer are the same. Lucifer redeemed us from the garden,
Mm,
and Jesus came back and redeemed us from the earth, from
mm,
our sins.
mhm.
So the two of them are redeemers.
Right, right.
So which one
Yeah.
is which? Because even Jesus said, I'm Lucifer in Revelations 20, I think it's 22 and 16.
Mhm, mhm.
Mhm.
They both the what, the morning star or
Yeah, they're
something like
both
that?
the light of the
Yeah,
world. Jesus
yeah.
said he's the light of the world. Lucifer is the light of the morning.
Mhm,
You see, and the thing is, Europeans right now are now opening up to the fact that Christianity needs a little bit of scrutiny,
mm,
because with the amount of intellectual growth about the reality of what we're in,
mhm,
listening to the stories that our ancestors put together as lesson plans for us,
mhm,
it's for us to decipher, not for us to just believe.
mhm,
You
mhm.
see, so I've been doing this for the last nearly 40 years, trying to decipher what that book really meant. And if you understood the book, you would understand it's a book of science.
Mhm,
It's just
mhm.
that we spoke on scientific things differently than the white man.
Right, right.
The white man complicates things by trying to micromanage everything. We essentially, as I said, we didn't deal with impositional analysis. The white man deals with impositional analysis, which means he imposes his will upon what he studies. This
Mm,
is what I see, this is what it must be.
mhm,
But the scientists that were our ancestors, they dealt with intuitional analysis.
mm.
So intuitional analysis is, well, we will wait for the thing to identify itself to us.
Right, right, right.
We will approach nature with courtesy. We're not going to bulldoze our way into it. He's
Mhm,
learning now because he
mhm,
understands now more, because he's what? He's been studying Eastern philosophy.
mhm.
He's been studying, or where is he going back every time you look at him on TikTok? He over there with black.
Mhm.
he's trying to find out more and more. Where does he do most of his digging? In Africa, in South America. I don't see him digging up in Europe. Ain't nothing up there. His entire past is in Africa and in South America and in Upper Asia, everywhere where he ain't. And remember, I said that when I did Brother Tariq Nasheed's documentary. The digger the white man digs, the deeper the white man digs for evidence of his past, the blacker the planet gets.
And you also said, speaking of Lucifer, it's connected to the phosphorus. And
the luciferus.
Yeah,
the phosphorus, and that's in the sperm.
That's in the sperm.
Yeah, that's the one that triggers the atomic reaction when it goes through the zona pellucida of the egg. When it burrows its way down into the zona pellucida, which is the covering on the egg, it burrows its way through. Now, there's millions of them attacking the egg. The egg knows which one to let through. You got to see this. This is deep. Because this is how you, as the father, selects and opens the portal for the next person that's supposed to be in your lineage to come through. And depending on what you, as the father, are feeling at that moment. Your emotional body is what creates the sex of the child. So if you are more into feelings, because there's two dynamics running through you as electric and magnetic. There's feelings and desire. Desire is electric, feelings is magnetic. If you are holding on to a more magnetic energy, you're going to have a little girl. If you're more in dynamic, if you're in your rage time, you're going out there and you hustling and you banging and what do you call it? You're more in your desire energy. And that desire energy builds up and then it begins to charge the sperm in accordance with that. And most people were laughing at me at that time. They laughed at me when I told them that there's an atomic explosion that happens in the middle of the egg once that sperm goes down, and there's a fusion reaction in the middle of that sperm. Of the egg. As it blows, there is an action that the European doctors say was phosphorus, and it's a phosphorus phosgene explosion. Their microscopes have gotten powerful enough to now see what it is that the occult people knew.
Right.
That explosion is the gateway opening up from Amenti, where the soul is traveling back.
Shit.
Back into the life. And then the soul now coming back becomes Osiris or As or Asa. Asa has two ways he died. He was killed by his brother Set, right? And was cut up into 16 pieces. But then the other story of Asa was that he was drowned by Set. But that was just an analogy speaking about you coming back into the waters of your mother. Because the physical body, the spiritual body dies in the physical body. And that's what the crucifix was about. The man on the cross is that the soul of man dies on the third dimension of matter.
Damn. You cold with this, Doc. You cold-blooded with this, man.
We teach this in our university.
You
All
cold.
our students know about this.
You cold-blooded with this. Damn, that's wow. Okay. Wow. That's what the cross is about, huh?
And you wore that in ancient Kemet after you went through the life and death cycle and resurrection. Because you had to die once you to be actually initiated in the ancient of times. You had to die. That's where you see the brothers doing voodoo in Haiti. When they used to put used to drink this and then turn them into zombies. They'd be live. They can't move. That's from the ancient Kemites. What happened is after you went through the crucible, you had to crawl down into a place where you can barely fit down underground. And if you didn't have the stomach to keep going and to push yourself through, that's why you see the Kemites were so skinny. You ever see a fat Kemite on the wall?
No.
Because essentially, when they went through that initiation process, they had to go through some deep and dig it. There was one part where he would the initiate, because we teach this in our university at the 3rd degree. When you get through and you pull yourself through, you opened up into this deep cavern that has a very tiny light that Herodotus was talking about. And over in the corner, you see a small bridge over a gigantic hole. And when you walk through that hole and you cross that bridge, you have to kind of balance your way across the bridge. You get to the other side, all of a sudden there's somebody there that welcomes you into a place where there is the sweetest smelling perfumes. You see all this beautiful thing, and then they got a half-naked woman sitting on the bed. And she's a gorgeous woman. And if you give any attention to her, there's a dude with a scimitar right there to chop your head off.
Wow.
If you're strong enough to deal with that temptation, it opens up, and then another initiate ushers you into a hall where there are 22 pictures. Which are the what became the tarot. And he explains each one of them. That's how they kept the secrets alive when they were invaded.
Oh, okay.
It's a hall, and there was 22 different pictures that represented the book of life, the book of Jehudi.
Right. Wow. Okay, Doc. See, man, y'all better be ready for Sunday, man. Doc know his info, man. Let me put the flyer on the screen one more time.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know we was going there tonight, Doc. I thought it was going to be simple and
well, right now it is simple, King, because I tell you, if I could get you into our classes, it'd be so great. You understand exactly what I'm talking about. As a matter of fact, this would be old news for you. You would be teaching me what you got from it.
Wow.
Yeah, all my students are teachers now.
Excellent. Once again, family, it's happening this Sunday, June 25th, 2023 at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The link is in the description and is also pinned at the top of the chat. Re-examining the authenticity of reality. Phase 1, exposing and decoding the heliocentric hoax, the mother of all conspiracies. Phase 2, transdimensional pathways, time travel via frequency portals in space-time. That time traveling one, that's very interesting as well. Doc. Frequency portals, is that like different when different brain waves or something like alpha and theta, and is that what that is?
What you have to, the frequency portals are in space-time. Your thoughts automatically, based upon what you're thinking about, opens portals. It's just that you don't know how to walk through because you got too much confusion going on in your head. You can visit any place on the time frame, on the time scale. You can visit any place on the time scale, but see, when we fell, quote unquote, a lot of the organs that were necessary for us to do this type of work went into stasis. And so this is why the yogis went through such a very Martinesque type of rigidity with their passions and their hungers and what they consumed and what they ate and so forth, because they couldn't be anything that takes away from such energy to be able to visit different time spots, time frames. Because if you have, sickness in your body and your body is calling you and the body is taking energy in order to try to heal consistently, and the breath and the circuitry of the nerves are all clogged up with filth and pollution, you're not going to take that trip. You're stuck in time. You're stuck in the now time. But usually you need to be with nature. Nature is the necessary helpmeet. She is the one. She's the mother. I don't know if you've ever seen one of the cards of the tarot where you see the Empress sitting there with a veil across her face. And she's supposed to be Isis or Ast. And she says, none may raise my veil who are not worthy. In other words, and she has a book, the book of life on one lap, on her lap, and the symbol of life in the other. It is through her and what they call space-time, because space essentially is representative of the father. Time is the mother, because she's the one who sets the metronome. The metronome is the father's intention.
So why do they say father time?
Well, father time essentially is the one giving mother nature the energy. You see, the masculine principle is the space. That's the part that everybody is wondering where, what is going on inside of space. They flipped the script. They told you father time because they don't want you to understand and understand that space, that place that everything takes place in, that's the father energy that feeds what you see through the senses. Time sets the metronome. The time is when you go down into matter and you go down into the compressed regions of third density. There is this metronome that is taking place that has you balancing between spirit and matter. Spirit and matter. Tick tock, tick tock. And the only place that happens is under the compression of matter, which is mater, which is mother. So remember, it still switches up. In the yin yang symbol, the father is in the mother and the mother is in the father. So the space-time isn't actually separated. That's us. When we're down in third density, it looks like it's separated, but it's actually operating in consort. And we think that we are over here and it's over there. And until we release the illusion that there is separation and understand that it's all one, you cannot breach space-time, because you're thinking that I got to go through space in order to beat time. Isn't that what they tell you? You got to go faster than the speed of light, and then all of a sudden you come. Yeah, that's because they're playing it as a dichotomy and not as one thing. See, it's going to confuse people. When they say father time, they say that whoever's playing that game, they're taking away from you the understanding of what matter is and what in time and what is space representative of. Space essentially is what? What do we say space is? Space is what they call conditioned fullness. It's a conditioned fullness. It's the water. It is wherever potential can happen in that. You have to be the activator in that. You are actually petitioning the Father when you go into space and time. When you are operating in space, you are using your thought process to send signals into space in order for it to respond to that by creating the cymatic sigils that become matter. And once those cymatic sigils are created by your thoughts, the metronome of time comes in. That's what your heart is about. What do you think your heart is? It's a timekeeper. You see what I'm saying? Why do you think your brain is split to two parts? One is dealing in space, which is the right, and the other is speeding in time, which is the left. Everything is in duality. So when you understand that time is the mother energy that fixes the intentions of the Father, which is essentially permeating through what we call space, which is a conditioned fullness of the intention of the Father. But they're not going to teach you that, because they're not telling you too much.
Everything you're talking about right now made me think about what happened with the Schumann resonance and the mother-father principle.
There it is. We're operating opposite to that, and they got us thinking in opposite direction. In fact, that's what the satanic energy is necessarily. That's how they live. They twist everything. They're not going to tell you the truth, because that keeps them in power. It keeps them in power to keep you thinking these cross-references. That's why we have to discard everything he says, take in everything that he does give us, because he's the one that's been holding on to everything he's stolen. He's holding it for us. We must now reclaim it, but by reclaiming it, we have to put the definition of it back that we gave to it, not him. Because he is redefining what the Bible means by telling you some white man walked on water. or he came here with blonde hair, blue eyes to actually save humanity. All of those lies are going to be exposed in my webinar. And if you can't, let me ask you a question. He tells you the earth is round and a ball spinning through space at 1,038 miles an hour. If you believe that, then you believe a white man walked on this earth and called himself Jesus Christ. Because like I said, that's the mother of all the conspiracies. If you believe in a globe earth and you believe in Jesus Christ walked the earth, because they are together, they came out of the same place, the Vatican.
You said something interesting when I talked to you on the phone, Doc, when I was telling you about the Schumann resonance, and I said it looked like cymatic images. You said cymatics are made on a flat surface.
There you go. Check it out. There has to be an opposing force that sets the base for cymatic images, and that is matter. That's the third density matter that pushes against your thoughts to create it. Remember, we are under about 16,000 pounds per square inch of cosmic force. We don't feel it because our body was made to function in it. But every time we give forth a thought, we are resisting that particular pressure. And it's in that resistance of that pressure that the cymatic images of your intentions that come through thought are then imprinted. And once the cymatic image of your thoughts, because you don't see them, they're reverberating on the atomic level. And what they do is they set up an electromagnetic field that calls the specific elements towards them. So when you set up a cymatic image, it's resonating, saying, come on, fill me up. I'm an embryo. I'm a sperm and an egg. I just broke out. I'm a zygote. I'm a thought zygote. Now, feed me. What is it? Okay, I got like 20% fire. I got 40% earth and all of these. And the cymatic images, that sigil that is created by your thoughts, are calling the four elements towards it in order to give it life. And the more you concentrate on that cymatic image, the more you judge it to be a real thing, the more you feed it, the more it then becomes a reality. That's what they were doing with the what's that thing they came out with a long time ago, when they were talking about your thought process. They made a big amount of money. Oprah was talking about it.
The secret.
That's the secret. They talk about thoughts and your positive thoughts and all of that. That's old. That was the simplest thing. That's grammar school stuff compared to what really is the science.
You know, Doc, speaking of whether Earth is flat or round in shapes and cymatics, I knew a brother who was good at manifesting. I'm not going to say his name. Very good at manifesting things into this realm.
Right.
And he told me, he said, "Yo, Rich, I'm gonna tell you some shit that people don't want to hear, so I don't bother telling people, but I'm gonna school you to it." Excuse me. He said that he used, depending on what he wanted to manifest, he will focus on different platonic solids. So he said the platonic sonics is the foundation of how we manifest things into this realm. So if he wanted something pertaining to fire, he would use this solid, or water, he would use that solid or that. So what's your thoughts on that?
That's Kabbalistic energy. That's using the Kabbalah. That's using the energy of the Kabbalah as manifestation. In fact, there is a book out called a Sefer Yetzirah. Check it out. It's the book of formations, the book of creation. So you can deal with the somatic solids. You can deal with the psionic solids too. And what you're doing essentially is using your resonance at what they call creative thinking. When you go into a meditative state and do not allow your thoughts to operate within the space, then your thoughts become a pure artist. In other words, you become an artist and the space-time continuum becomes your canvas. And you can then paint the reality you wish, but you have to be in such a state of calm and meditation that you cannot be interrupted by previous judgments, whether things are right or wrong, you're angry with people and so forth. All of these are like leeches on your creative energy. They suck your creative energy away from you, and you cannot feed the actual sigil that you wish to create in thought. But the secret now, just as we teach you how to create thoughts, there's another way to learn how not to create thoughts when you're thinking, because they become your karma. Yeah, thoughts become your karma. They're alive. They're like your little children. They're like a kindergarten of kids screaming, looking for attention. Check your brain out when you try to think about something else, and all of a sudden all kind of thoughts about what you don't have, what you got to do, who's messing with you, where you got to be, and all these type of things start coming in all at once, just when you want to focus on something that you know you need to focus on. Everybody starts saying, me, all your thoughts. Start saying, over here.
Yeah, that's so deep, Doc. That's so deep, man. Wow. Oh man. Let's take. Oh man, I'm blown away by today's show today, y'all. Like I said, I thought that we was just gonna keep it real simple, talk about Tate and the Schumann a little bit and the Titanic. Doc done took it on level 10. I thought we was gonna be on level 3. You know what I mean? That's how he do. So
Well,
y'all could imagine Sunday. Y'all could imagine how it's going down Sunday, man.
It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be beautiful. Hey, Doc, let's take 2 questions from the people before we get out of here. You cool with that?
Sure.
All right, yeah, let's take 2 questions. Once again, if you're coming in late, we got 3,500 people in the chat right now. We're preparing for Sunday. Sunday is game day. It's going down Sunday. Today's show, we having a good time talking with Doc, but Sunday is the day. 10 hours or better. Re-examine the authenticity of reality. I'm extremely excited. I already got Sunday, planned, and I need my quiet time. I'm gonna get my son to leave me alone. I need to focus and concentrate on this right here. So make sure y'all sign up for Sunday. The link is in the description, and also it is pinned at the top of the chat. All right, family. But it's going down Sunday. As y'all can tell from today's show, Sunday is going to be absolutely magnificent. We're gonna take 2 questions, then we're gonna get out of here. All right, family.
Okay.
Let's see what y'all are talking about in the chat. Yeah, y'all deep in here tonight. I know y'all like somebody wants to know, is there wisdom inside of wisdom teeth?
Well, essentially that the wisdom teeth, the old people said, makes you wise to pain. Essentially. It's like when you had a different type of jawline, it's a vestigial thing. It doesn't belong in your present model design. So wisdom, it depends essentially some people don't even grow wisdom teeth. Only there's certain people who grow wisdom teeth, and they had a whole different design. A lot of that is a tie over from when we had a larger and more aligned face. If you notice essentially that these teeth right here, that the one we call the wisdom teeth, they're actually not supposed to grow out. You're supposed to only get 33 teeth, actually, and that's it. 33. After you've gotten it at 33 teeth, and then you get 36, then that shows you that something is wrong. Something skipped. Something was placed in there that didn't belong. But as far as wisdom makes you wise, no, it just, like the old folks say, it makes you wise to pain, which is why people snatch it out. But if you are eating properly and you are doing right by yourself, properly to nutrition, then this shouldn't bother you at all. And you shouldn't be yanking it out, because the nerves at that particular point become susceptible. People who yank their so-called wisdom teeth end up getting infections in their ear.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Somebody got a question for me, Brother Rich. What's up with the fast? Didn't get the Discord. I don't know if you sent the donation today. If you sent it today, I didn't send out the link for anybody who sent it today. But if you didn't send it today, you should have gotten it. You could email me your receipt, richardmerritt@yahoo.com, and I'll take a look at it. But hit me up on an email. I'm gonna put my email in the chat. Divine feminine. Yeah, I'm putting my email in the chat, and you could email me your receipt, and I'll investigate it and see what's going on. Shout out to everybody else in the fast, though. We're definitely enjoying it and having a good time. I'm hosting a fast, Doc, and we're grounding. We doing all the stuff you taught us years ago, Doc.
Hey, I'm going to be joining you after this. My wife and I are going to be doing a very, very heavy cleanse. I'm going to be probably off the grid for a good time. Good time.
Okay.
I'm going to. Oh, for those of you who have been sending information, looking for information about the blood right ears, I have not been answering you right now because my full attention is in finishing and streamlining my coming webinar. After the webinar, say a couple of days that I recover, then I will begin to answer and place your information to the brothers who do the blood right ears. So please be patient.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. We're gonna do one more question and then we're gonna get out of here.
Okay.
Somebody wants to know, can you talk about the Tao? I think that's how you say it. The Tao Te Ching and the Taoism in general, and how it explains the sine wave.
Well, the Tao is usually was seen by people who resurrected their Kundalini. If you're really getting into Tao, then you will have already the first I guess what would you call it? It's not done today, but the first degree is the initiation into the raising of Kundalini, because you can't understand how the brain works. It works in those cycles when you see the yin, the yang, that your brain is doing in opposite directions to keep the balance, to keep the cyclotronic balance of consciousness in your brain. And once you raise the Kundalini and you light what is called the lamp of God, but it's actually the lamp of Gad, Gad being the Hebrew word for head. It's the lamp of Gad, and they turned it to the lamp of God, who taketh away the sins or the ignorance of the world. So the Tao essentially is about coming into a place where the first thing to control are your appetites. Once your appetites are in control and you're no longer feeding what your blood cells have become, because remember, when you start eating crap, your blood cells are fed in crap, and then they yearn for that crap. That's why you see people getting into this obese place, because the materials they're putting into the food today are addicting you to that particular type of flavor. And you're feeding yourself on something that's just giving you empty, dead calories. And you're putting on a lot of weight as a result of that. And especially like me, I've been indolent, and this has been my tapestry for the last like 10, 15 years. And that's why I'm going to be cutting everything short and loose to get back into like what you all are doing at this point, what I used to do a long time ago. Mm-hmm. So if you're dealing with the Tao, know that overindulgence is the first thing you have to come back from. Mm-hmm. Which means you have to definitely get to rest, first of all, because the physical body is the temple that the Tao is practiced in. Mm-hmm. So you must bring your spirit that has been enticed outside into the outer world. You must invite it back into a place where it recognizes that it's safe and that it can prosper. At this point, people's spirits no longer want to inhabit their bodies because there's too much pollution, too much anger, too much confusion.
Wow. Well, I definitely enjoy and appreciate you coming on here once again, Doc. Once again, before we get out of here, let the people know what can we expect on Sunday, my brother.
Well, first things first, I'm going to give you the so-called black news, the black news about everything that is happening. I'm going to introduce my wife's new book about her survival. I'm going to introduce all of the services that are out there that we have been part of. And then I'm going to go into a debriefing and a deconstructing of your mind control and show you how the techniques of mind control have actually essentially hypnotized you into a space where you can't tell what reality you're in, how the reality has been twisted so you cannot see through the glass darkly. And then I will slowly bring you into the so-called flat plane understanding by showing you that the references of so-called scientists of the past, white and black, that were actually knowing that this was a flat plane, and that the Vatican was the one back about 700 years ago that actually curved the flat plane into a ball or orb. And then we're going to go all the way through all the proof to show you we're on a flatted plane. And then we're going to go from there into time travel and how time travel is actually something that you can organically attain. And in between that, we're going to have music, 5 minutes breaks each time so that you can run to the bathroom and have yourself a little something to get you, sprinkle some water on your face so that you can stay awake. It's going to be a hell of a time, trust me.
Oh man, amazing, amazing, amazing. Yeah, there it is, family. It's going down Sunday. I will definitely see all of y'all there. With that being said, I want to they keep asking this, Doc, before we get out of here. It's not going to be recorded. They got to be there live, right?
Yes, they have to be there live.
Yeah.
And I'll see, I don't know. The wife and I are thinking about it being recorded. We are definitely thinking about the recording because, that's the other thing. Thank you for reminding me. You have my people having problems. Some people having problems. They haven't gotten their link back after they've registered. Definitely send whatever's going on to me at Sunnu, SUNNU 777 @gmail, or you go to office@cymatics.org. Okay, Mama said that's where they should send it. Office, OFFICE at Cymatics. That's KEMETAPHYSICS.org, and let them know that you're having problems with that. The other thing is, that was pretty much it. I think it was it. That was it, right, baby? Yeah, that's it. So anybody's having that kind of problem, check your spam and make sure that everything that you're doing is in line. Don't try to go to PayPal. You have to click the link. A lot of people just go to PayPal and think that that's where they're going to buy it from. No, PayPal and Zoom are actually creating the link for you. And if you give that link away to somebody thinking they're going to join in, if they go in first, you can't get in. It can only be used once. Okay, so remember that, family. Only once. So we're thinking about having recording it because my new webinar, my new website called Webinar Archive, or archiving webinars, Webinar Archive. The Webinar Archive is being worked on right now, where I will have those recorded ones from before will be available through streaming. So you can get it, and it'll be pretty much we're going to break it down so that it's not as expensive all the way through to everywhere. Maybe, $5, $7 a pop for a certain segment and so forth. And we're trying to make it as affordable as possible so that we can maintain the the platform that we're going to sponsor it on. So, if we do record it, it will be going into our Webinar Archive. My wife and I, we're going to see what we do if it's necessary. But yeah, we're thinking about recording it, and I don't know, maybe replaying it if you want to see it, because there's going to be a whole lot.
Oh yeah. Hey family, thank you for tuning in tonight. Dr. Valentine, thank you for coming on. This is Brother Rich, Black Magic 363. And we signing out, family. See everybody Sunday. Peace, family.